On June 11th of 1963, President John F. Kennedy went on national television to address the United States people on the issue of segregation and integration. At the beginning of John F. Kennedy's presidency, he had to deal with several issues, from the space race to the Cuban Missile Crisis, and then to the issue of civil rights. The Civil Rights Address is one of John F. Kennedy's more famous speeches that was given from the Oval Office. JFK gave his Civil Rights Address after the incident that occurred in Alabama, where National Guardsmen were now occupying the University of Alabama due to threats and violence towards two African American students who were to be admitted to the school by court order. John F. Kennedy makes several references throughout his speech to President Lincoln, the Emancipation Proclamation, and the Founding Fathers of the United States.
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds. It was founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened.
John F. Kennedy uses the phrase that all men are created equal to allude the listener back to the Declaration of Independence, which was written and signed by men of many nations and backgrounds, referencing back to the Founding Fathers of the United States. Later in John F. Kennedy's speech, he goes on to say,
"If an American, because his skin is dark, cannot eat lunch in a restaurant open to the public, if he cannot send his children to the best public school available, if he cannot vote for the public officials who represent him, if, in short, he cannot enjoy the full and free life which all of us want, then who among us would be content to have the color of his skin changed and stand in his place?"
At the end of that portion of his speech, John F. Kennedy poses the question, then who among us would be content to have the color of his skin changed and stand in his place? Due to the fact that if he earlier states all men are created equal, then any person should have no issue changing the color of their skin and being the same person. But if the violence were to continue, then who would be willing to do that? Who would be content to change themselves to stand in the place of those abused?
100 years of delay have passed since President Lincoln freed the slaves, yet their heirs, their grandsons, are not fully free. They are not yet freed from the bonds of injustice. They are not yet freed from social and economic oppression. And this nation, for all its hopes and all its boasts, will not be fully free until all its citizens are free.
Now, in this portion of his speech, he makes a reference to one of the most favored presidents in American history, Abraham Lincoln, and to when he signed the Emancipation Proclamation and freed the slaves. But now, JFK is saying that even 100 years later, they are not yet fully free. They still face the hardships of discrimination, violence, and segregation. John F. Kennedy, throughout his whole speech, insists that the fellow Americans need to begin by not causing violence, but to go and let the battle take place in the courts.